Martin.
And now, Jabroni Studios, in association with Big Herm Productions, is proud to present to you, recording from an undisclosed location in Oakdale, Connecticut, it's Chris Burns, it's Chris Lynch, this is Dysfunction Junction.
And Matt Marsh.
And Matt Marsh. We forgot about Matt Marsh.
Right on. Now I can hear it.
Now you can hear the music. Jesus Christ. For those of you that don't get to see the post show, which is everybody but the four of us, we've spent the last 45 seconds pissing ourselves laughing. We shouldn't, because it's a very serious topic tonight. Welcome to Election 2024, right here on Dysfunction Junction.
Fuck yeah!
Fuck yeah. Yes, it was pre. See, you didn't think that one through, did you?
I did. It was the pre-show. You said post-show.
Did I?
Yeah.
Pre-show, post-show, like Post Malone, like Frank Post, like
Green
Mark
jacket, green jacket,
Coital?
jacket. Who gives a shit?
Take off your
Word.
pants and jacket.
Oh my God.
That's what I did. Do you see me wearing my jacket?
That's true. You look like a high
And
school
I'm not wearing
professor.
pants, so hey.
Welcome to the Junction, folks. We're going to be talking about the election. I'm Chris Burns. With me, as always, the most dapper redneck this side of the Mississippi.
Chris Lynch.
Of course, we have down below me in the box assortment, we have the Ted Bundy of Groton, Connecticut. He is the one and only Matt Marsh.
Yes.
Dependent
Yeah, that's
Blazer
good.
eyes.
I
Did you
expect
just
for
say
election. Yeah, I expect for election 2028, you get the German chocolate suit.
The German chocolate suit.
I got a tie for that, bro. I have
It's-
two ties for that.
And
I have
Are they
two
made out of
perfect ties
chocolate?
for fucking Brown. Two perfect 70s ties for Brown, bro.
the
Perfect.
producer extraordinaire,
Embroidery.
the man with no
Hey,
hair,
he won't shut up.
the man who just earlier today unlocked a treasure trove of ties that would make Mike Brady blush. He is Big Herm, Michael P.S.
That
Herman.
is
The
spectacular.
man who earlier today straight up stood in his living room and buttoned his good suit.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Before we
let's hear
get
it
into
for
the
'em.
election,
That is
that's
nice.
something that's something we should touch on. You texted the other day, it's day 100, and I was not being a prick. I'm like, okay, of what? Your weight loss? You're like, yes,
Oh,
sir.
yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah, it was day 100 and
Mhm.
300 meals in a row of keeping track and paying attention for 100 days straight, not missing a log. Yeah, it's kind of a bit. It's a milestone for, you know what I mean, for counting days. It's
Absolutely.
you know,
awesome.
it's that
On
100 day thing.
On day one, and you don't have to answer this part if you don't want to, but on day one, what did the scale say when you stepped on it, other than ouch?
The scale said
Get off me.
331, 330.
Ish.
When
Mhm.
you stepped on the scale, okay, now he's going to go. Now, put your pants
No.
on.
Put
Put
the
your pants
ass
back
ready.
on her.
I'm glad he left the shirt untucked because nobody needs to see his dirty ass drawers.
Damn,
I've
Gina.
seen his ass, so it's
I
Now,
know. It's
where
just
were
the
we?
way
What?
he did. Now, I'm sure you did, when you stood on the scale today, what did the scale say other than ouch?
The scale this morning didn't say ouch. The scale this morning said, wow, that feels kind of good.
Ooh, that sounds lovely.
I was 266 this morning.
That's phenomenal.
That's awesome.
That's phenomenal.
That's awesome.
That's some good stuff, Bo.
You
So
know,
anybody-
not to take all the light here. Matt is crushing. Matt's been on it longer than I have.
Tell me more about yours, Matt. When you stepped on the scale the first day that you started your journey, what did the scale say other than one at a time, please?
270.
Okay, where are you at today?
207.
That's
Wow.
fantastic, dude. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
Matt and I have basically lost a
person.
person.
A
Together, we've
small-
basically lost about 130 pounds. We've lost
You've
a
lost
female
Lynch.
adult.
a
We've
small
we've lost.
Polynesian female.
What I'm saying, you know what I mean? Like we've lost an average female person or a light male.
Or a,
Like
yes.
together in the last 2 months, we've lost a person,
Yes.
and we didn't even
nice.
have to bury a fucking body.
Yes.
So, congratulations to you both. That's freaking phenomenal. I mean, all
That
Lynch
is
had to
awesome.
do was go to rehab, and
Now-
he lost a lot of weight.
Now, Matt? What do you have? Where's your goal? What do you got left to get to your goal?
I'm trying to get
Just-
down to. I'm trying to go for 160, but we'll see what happens. I
'Cause
figure come around.
my goal is a weight that I haven't been at since middle school.
Yeah, that's
so-
basically where I'm at too. Yeah.
Wow.
180.
Like no, like 240 in like
Yeah.
middle school when I
Really?
started school. I was So
Wow.
I'm literally looking at like my freshman year.
No, my latest adult weight was 158, but that was fresh back from basic training, so I don't think I'll ever see that again. But it's possible.
Yeah, like if I go down one more size now at 266, 267, I'll be in clothes that I was wearing technically end of senior year.
Wow.
In like another 10, 15 pounds.
Yeah.
And I'm going
That's phenomenal.
I'm going 25 pounds past that.
That is absolutely phenomenal. Good job to both of you.
Just to put it in perspective, before I went into rehab, I was almost 270.
Really?
Yeah, you were thick at that point. Very. And I'm not
And-
saying that to be a prick. I'm saying
No,
it because
but,
you started to gain.
So put this in perspective. Now Herm's built bigger than me. He's just a bigger person. He's taller. He's wider.
Right.
He's
Like
just a-
I can
He's
I
a
can
rugged guy.
hang
It's a bone
50 more
crusher, dude.
pounds on I can hang 50 more pounds on my natural body weight frame than you can just because of frame size.
Right.
Right. So when I was 260, I didn't look as big as Herm did at 331. But when you look at Herm, you don't think I never thought he was that heavy. You know what I mean? And looking at him
Yeah, that's
now,
misleading.
you know what I mean? Because everybody
Right,
carries
like,
it differently.
That's my problem too. Before I start to look real fucking fat, I got to gain lot of weight because
Oh,
it'll hang. My
Yeah.
body will just let go. You know what I mean? Like my
you're-
body
right.
will take it. My shoulders
You're
just
built
get
like-
bigger. My neck gets thicker.
You're built like a fucking orangutan. That's why.
Right, I'm either a fat gorilla or just
Yeah.
a thick gorilla. There's no
Yeah.
difference.
Well, you put it on pretty
It's
much all
so-
over. You don't have like that English butler build with the skinny arms and legs and the big eggplant.
No,
you know?
like thank God.
That's how I was.
Thank God it's proportionate,
yeah,
like
mine's pretty proportional.
all the way around. And the only thing that doesn't get really fat is my legs. But
Right.
I carry it mostly through my middle and shoulders. Like me losing, it takes a lot. Like I have to lose 60 pounds before somebody's like, hey, you look like you've lost weight.
That's yeah.
Because they're-
I'd be down 30, 40 myself.
yeah, but and I'll say this, and I'm being polite because I don't know if it's the lighting that Marsh has. Marsh looks like Marsh every day, but even Duke said it. Some of the Speedway folk that watch all the time say it. Your face noticeably got
Oh, you
thinner.
could tell on his face. I pointed that out a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
Oh, you.
and I was
Oh yeah,
getting
well,
private-
a month or so ago when you were like holy neck, and I was like, no,
Yeah.
I know, I've been
What the
noticing it
fuck?
too. Like all of a sudden, there's definition.
I have
and
one of
things
these.
that you're seeing
Yeah.
things move that just were covered in fat.
Right.
So-
Even your cheekbones and shit. Your whole face.
You know what I
structure
mean?
is
Like
freaking
yeah,
different.
like there's what the fuck is this?
right.
Like,
At his heaviest, he didn't have an Adam's apple. He had an
now-
Adam's
now-
watermelon.
That's a
now I need a
cheekbone, not a
con-
jowl.
Yeah, like now I need a contour kit. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Thank you for catching that, Lynch.
Adam's watermelon.
And Adam's
You know,
if
true.
you'd shut up for a minute, I love you. At your heaviest, you didn't have an Adam's apple. You had an Adam's watermelon.
Yeah, it was like an Adams. It was like an Adams cantaloupe.
eggplant.
That
Eggplant.
giant pumpkin we had on our porch in 1992.
Yeah, and now I get these the like when things move like I see tendons underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you get when you get those Macho Man things when he got pissed. Yes.
Yeah, that took some getting
Yes,
used to.
that one when I and y'all was like,
All right, well,
holy
somebody,
neck.
Congratulations to you both. And Lynch has been skinny now for what, 3-4 years. So I'm
Almost.
next. I'll figure it out. But on that note, somebody's going to be pissed off when we wake up tomorrow. I'm not sure who, but welcome to election
There's
2024.
going to be civil unrest.
I'm going to be civil. I won't be unrested. I really don't give a shit.
Oh, I'm going to bed tonight. I ain't staying away for this shit.
I
I'll be
stayed
able to
awake.
know about-
What
No.
is something going to happen overnight
Dude,
that can't
it
wait
don't
till
matter.
fucking
I mean,
morning coffee?
I wake up and go to work in the morning either way. So
No,
Look,
for me,
unless I'm waking up poor in the morning, I really don't care.
there you go. There are districts coming out of Indiana and Kentucky that are reporting voting already. I'll go from the bottom to the top. Write-in candidates collected 18 votes. Jill Stein for the Green Party has collected 121 votes. Chase Oliver of the Libertarian Party has collected 258 votes. Robert Kennedy, who's not even running but was kept on the ballot in certain states because I don't know why, has 589 votes. Kamala Harris, currently, as they're counting in Indiana and Kentucky, has 22,807 votes, and Donald J. Trump has 47,865 votes. Again, these are 2 states. These are random districts. As these numbers move up, and I'm sure Lynch is going to have one on his screen. We're all going to be watching. The biggest question I have, and go ahead.
I just fired up the TV. With as they're reporting.
Okay.
Right now.
So one of the questions that came up in the chat, and I'm really interested, and I'll start with her because you were the first, fired right out of the gate. What is the most important for you? And keep that in mind as each of us roll this out. You may disagree. You don't. It's okay. We're all friends here. We all are probably voting in different directions, if I'm thinking correctly, and it really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, these 3 gentlemen, they're top of my list, man. They're good human beings, and I don't particularly care. But we all have that one. I don't know what you'd call it. Fuck. I'm lost. I'm glad you guys tuned in tonight.
It'd be the one issue that
thank you.
The issue or the topic or whatever it is that is what's your most important issue that you're voting on. And that's it was Did I ask that question or did it just kind of happen to come up? I know I asked about
came up, but you came right out of the box and were like, bam, here's my issue. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, no, that's right. Matt asked if something was my issue, and I was like, no. And he's like, don't worry, you don't have to tell. And I was like, I don't mind telling you. I don't mind saying it. I'll say it. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care.
Well, it just occurred to me at that point that people's issues are their own business, and if you didn't want to share it, it was none of my business.
Absolutely right. And also, if it had gone that route, and I looked at Matt and said, "Well, I'm just not. I'm not going to discuss it." Also, nobody in the fucking chat thread would have been like, "What the fuck, asshole?" You would have been like, "Hey, okay."
No.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
I also knew that
totally
you were being a dick. You were legitimately just kind of curious on a friend level, and not. So I was like, I'll vote. I'll tell why. Yeah. So I didn't have an issue with saying why I was voting and what I was voting on. Now, I did read your post, the one you thanked Gary for.
Yes.
And I do have a slight rebuttal.
Okay.
And my rebuttal would be, if you're voting thinking that one term and one president is going to change that issue, you are entirely wasting a vote. Okay.
Agreed.
Absolutely. There's nothing that's going to happen in 4 years on a federal level that wouldn't be much easier pushed on a state level like we're doing here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I guess, and if I can clarify before you go on. Go ahead,
Hold on.
please. Yes.
It was a good topic because it does. There is no, it's not, it's if that is what your topic is voting on, the 4 year, she's going to change it is not the right mindset for that vote. Now, if you were thinking about playing the long game that the Republicans played to get us to the reversal, it's not technically a wasted vote. you have to remember that that voting is also not so much just about the issues, it's also about who's pushing and what they're pushing and where you where are hoping that gets pushed. That being said, hoping that within the next 4 years there's a nationwide, it's by some miraculous amount of fucking miracles, a giant amount, a plethora, if you will.
Plethora.
Yes.
A gaggle.
And a whole gaggle, a motherfucking gaggle. It does pass through. That would be some kind of political fucking miracle.
Mhm.
Now, that being said, I'm voting the way I voted, more towards for the long game, not a short game. My vote is that we've got 2 judges right now that are very fucking close to retirement age and have said so.
Yeah.
Putting somebody on the more left side, given the topic of, I'm voting women's health. That's what I'm voting. I'm going to put it out there just so everybody's like, he still hasn't fucking said it.
Well, now he has.
If you're voting, I have. If you're voting for that, in 4 years, it's all going to change. Good luck to you.
Well, there's a lot of people.
Good luck to you.
There's a lot of people.
No, I know, dude. I know, and I saw that, and at first I was like, "What the fuck?" And then I was like, "Well, if you're thinking the 4-year thing is just going to zip it right out, he's totally fucking right."
But wait,
if you're playing a long game,
correct.
Well, that's all about Supreme Court justices.
You have to understand that the scuttlebutt that's out there right now, and you're voting. Your main topic, your main issue is women's health, women's reproductive rights. I have a particular issue with the wording, but I agree with you. That's where I'll start. But there are people that honestly think, and they'll stand on this and they'll stomp their feet, and they pick this as their hill to die on. If Donald J. Trump gets elected tonight, that on January 21st, the day after the inauguration, it's going to be The Handmaid's Tale. These people are so sick right now that they can't understand how law works and how the process works.
They're not correct. It's not that fast. And I don't think The Handmaid's Tale or whatever the fuck it is going to happen.
No, neither do I.
But again, like I said, it's about who's pushing and which direction they're pushing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, again, is also a reason to spend your vote. A lot of that it's about who's pushing and where they're pushing. I can tell you that pushing towards that voting for Donald Trump, definitely seeing what's happened given his choice and the placement of justices, that I can see people not wanting him pushing what he's pushing in the direction he's pushing. That I can understand that.
I understood all of that, like, strangely enough.
We know what he's pushing, and we know where he's pushing it. Mm-hmm. Do we want him pushing it is really the question. In that direction. You know me, I watch and I listen and I absorb, and I spent the last 2 weeks just diving like super hard into every speech that Ms. Harris makes, every speech that Mr. Trump makes, every speech that Tim Walz makes, every speech that Vance makes. And I'm reading the transcripts, and to see the way that the mainstream media takes a lot of, and on both sides, let's be clear right now. If I want to push a narrative and I take a Tim Walz quote and I chop it up and I throw it out to you, that's not there's no context there. You're taking 2 sentences. We had the Trump rally recently where the idiot comedian made the joke about Puerto Ricans. It was all over the news. Where was the outrage and the backlash over what George Lopez said about the Mexicans?
There was
It's
none.
all about context and clipping. Go ahead, Lynch, please.
Well, and it's all about pushing the agenda, and the agenda is to paint Trump as...
in the defense of Mexicans, we usually don't give a fuck. We don't usually give a fuck when anybody That's the difference. Mexicans don't give a fuck. We don't care if you wear a sombrero. We don't care if you walk around wearing a serape.
No.
We don't care. We don't give a fuck about appropriation. We know who we are, and that's who we are.
That's-
Puerto Ricans, there's a lot of show there. Let's be honest. I'm gonna say it. I'm Mexican. Fuck Puerto Rico.
Right.
They just might as well. We might as well just make them the next state. Because if you're born there, you're an American citizen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
and
have full access to the state. And you know what?
You are.
I am not against it. I'm absolutely not against it. The only problem, and the comedian isn't wrong, what's right next door to Puerto Rico?
Cuba.
Fucking Haiti.
Ah.
They share an island. He's not wrong. It is a floating dumpster in the ocean because Haiti is so fucking
Wait. What do you
disorganized
mean?
and piss
Sure.
poor.
I thought you were talking about Puerto Rico.
But Lynch, you, my friend, are rationalizing. He didn't say there's an island and they share it with Haiti, and that he didn't. That's the problem. You got every time I hear somebody say that, we know what he meant. Well, yeah, no, there is an island attached to it, but then that nigga should have said Haiti.
And
he didn't.
I'm misspeaking.
He said the American part.
So
go ahead.
Well, just to clarify, most of Puerto Rico on that side is Haitian. Dominican actually. Oh, yeah. Haiti's over here, right? Because Haitians have nowhere else to go, they go to Puerto Rico. They end up in Florida. It took the huge Haitian migration started in the late 70s, early 80s. Because once you get past Puerto Rico and go west, it's not much other than Dominican Republic, Haiti, and it's not nice.
And
it's not nice out there. You go south, you go further south, Antigua, St. Martin, all those islands, you're looking at luxury and beauty. So you know what? It just pushes out. It's focused outrage, focused on the fact and to keep pushing the Trump is a fascist, Trump is a racist, Trump is this, Trump is that. Now, okay, some people buy into it. I don't really give a fuck because this is my. I said this on a Facebook post to somebody that I know, and he immediately deleted it. The entire thing is bullshit. Both sides. Now, one side is better than the next, than the other in this race right now.
You don't know what.
Yeah, this is exactly what I said. I'm reciting it verbatim. Both sides are fucking bullshit. You have one side where you don't know who the person really is behind the candidate, and you have the other side who by all appearances is fucking whack job. So whether you're crying that if Trump wins that the 2025 mandate's going to come through, do a little bit of fucking research. That's not the truth. Stop believing what the media tells you.
Thank you. And
do some research. So do you want the truth and the bullshit fed to you by the tablespoon size from the Republicans, or the ladle full of bullshit that the Democrats force feed down your throat? Because there's no such thing as two sides when you're talking to the far left. It's my way or the fucking highway, and I'm gonna force feed this down your throat whether you like it or not.
And I'm gonna piggyback your point, and I'm gonna say the far right, the Fox News crowd, does the same fucking thing. Kamala Harris. Oh yeah, Kamala Harris. The transcript of her rally from a couple days ago. She said
Friday.
some really good, interesting things, and it didn't sway my vote. I was a write-in vote. I'm admitting it now. I didn't vote for Clown 1 or Clown 2. I think eventually Harris could be a really strong candidate. I think we've danced the dance with Donald Trump once before. All the bullshit that the media feeds.
Did you guys have the Unity Party? And what was your options for president?
Democrat, Republican, and I'm going off memory. There were 5. I remember 4.
Yeah.
There were Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Green Party.
And Unity Party, right?
I didn't see that, but again, I went
maybe
straight
that was
to the bottom.
Maybe that was just a party on ours here in Colorado, but we had 4.
I went straight to the bottom to write in your vote. So
you're right. It was 4 choices and other.
Okay.
We had There was the grocery and something party. That's what literally what it said on the ballot. The groceries and something party.
Or the
I can get
Laletti
behind
League,
groceries.
The Stop and Shop party.
right?
Yeah.
Are we gonna have a chicken in every pot? What's going on?
Right. I'm gonna go back to my point real
Government
quick. No,
cheese.
I want to
Go
throw
ahead.
it to Marsh and his government cheese. This happens on especially with MSNBC and CNN. They do their lefty bullshit. They'll clip something. It's totally taken out of context. And if you care enough to read the transcripts, you would see that whatever they sold you was you bought a car, but you only paid for the lug nut on the left rear tire. You didn't get the whole car. The same thing happens with Fox News. When I read the transcript of Kamala Harris's rally, I'm like, wow, this could be someone in another 4 years that I could see being a viable candidate. She just got to get her feet a little more wet, because I don't think she's done a great job as vice president, as the last person in the room, according to her and Joe. And I think she has a lot of great ideas. I'm just not ready for them. Having said that, if that's what you base your opinions off of, is these snippets that go on TV, and whether it's Brett Baer or Joe Scarborough, both of them are ridiculous.
Ugh.
You get what you deserve. And I'm going to throw it to Marsh on that same wave. What have you been seeing out there in your mind's eye as how this has played out so far?
I didn't have high expectations about this. I've kind of been just going with it, and honestly just want this thing done and over with. But I don't. As far as how it's playing out, I've watched a couple of her commercials, some of his stuff. Like I said, I don't have much to say about that. As far as, I was surprised by the amount with the commercials I saw last night from her, the amount of mudslinging I actually saw. I was a little surprised by that, and I probably shouldn't have been. But I just don't really think you need to go there.
Well, that's a point I wanted to bring up, and I'm glad you brought it up, is do you remember when we were kids and early adults? And I remember specifically Bill Clinton, because I did the campaigning, was, Bill Clinton wants to bring you this, and Bill Clinton wants to do this, and Bill Clinton wants a brighter future. At no point did he mention Ross Perot or
No.
anyone else in the race. This is what I want to do. And then you see the commercials for the other guys. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. Since, I want to say, the second Obama term, these commercials have turned into hit jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Lynch picks his
said-
boogers and eats them. Vote for Chris Burns.
I said that a month ago, dude. It's not about what you stand for or what your policies are. It's all
No.
about what can I deflect off of me, and look what this person did
Yeah,
bad.
it's
Look
all
what this
smoke
person
and
did
mirrors.
bad. And I'll tell you very quickly about how I made the decision on my vote, and it's similar to Herm's. It's the long game. Looking at both candidates and both of their running mates. I'm not sold on Kamala Harris as being a strong leader. She's too green, and I don't really know who she is. And I said that last week. I don't know who she is. If you just give me a little bit more of the person behind the suit and behind the word salad, she may say something that will amaze me. I want to hear that from her. I've been giving her a
It'd be
shot for the
great.
last. I've been giving her a shot since June. I haven't heard it yet. And I look at her running mate. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed with him at all.
There are a lot of things to like about Tim Walz, and I'll say it now because, again, I've listened to everything they've said for the last couple weeks. Like,
So have I, and
seriously,
it's just-
diving deep. I've known about JD Vance for the last 6 years, read the book, watched the movie, followed him closely. Yes, even when, how dare he run with Trump because he said Trump was Orange Hitler. Well, there are a lot of people who didn't like me a couple years ago, and now we're best of buddies. Why? Because times change, people change, and you learn to see who the person is. One of the things I was talking with Tommy Summers a couple weeks ago, our friend from Three Sides of the Coin, who lives in Minnesota. When he was announced, Tim Walz, I says, tell me a little about Tim Walz. He has nothing nice to say about Tim Walz. So I called another Minnesota resident. Tell me about Tim Walz. They had nothing but glowing things to say about him. So you have to take the good with the bad.
Right.
The problem with that is I did say a couple weeks ago to you guys and out in public, I'm going to base if I were to vote for Republican or Democrat, I'd base it on the running mate. But then I thought about it. A vote for Tim Walz is a vote for Kamala Harris. I can't do that. A vote for JD Vance is a vote for Donald Trump. I can't do that either.
Well, setting myself up for the future, I see Vance as a very, very, very strong candidate for president.
Oh yeah,
I like how he speaks. He seems a little bit more put together than any of the other three of them. I don't know, Herm. I saw a side of him on the Joe Rogan interview that really kind of fucking impressed me.
that was fantastic.
He,
Oh,
you know you kind of get what he is.
The one thing that bothers me about the way he's been portrayed by certain media outlets is the weird thing. Let's see. He's running with Trump. Trump is racist. Well, he's got a running mate who has an Indian wife and 3 half Indian kids. Okay. There's a town, and I'm not stumping for
What does
Trump.
that
If you
mean?
get
Wait, hold on. What's the correlation?
would
the
you
correlation?
if you want to let me
It's not
finish,
his wife.
or
He's not banging that Indian
do
bitch.
you want to let me bin it? Thank you, my man.
You went full
A
retard.
true racist would
if
never
you-
pick him as a running mate.
Exactly. And he answered for me. A true racist would not say, I want you to come with me and live in the White House and have your alien wife. Not that she's an alien. She was born in San Diego, California. have your off-colored wife and your 3 half-breed Oreo kids come with me. And he wouldn't do that. And the one thing, and again, I'm not stumping for Trump, but when people say he's a Nazi, there's a town named after him in Israel. That doesn't happen with
he's
Nazis.
Very Nazi. His a lot of his speech is very Hitler-esque.
Nazi-esque.
Is very Hitler-esque.
Yeah.
You
but
could
I
say-
don't think he's a Nazi. He's extremely Hitler-esque. But
You could
he's-
say,
He's
But-
charismatic.
but yes, but by the same token, you could say that let's say you don't like Andrew Dice Clay as a comedian, there could be someone that says, hey, you speak very Andrew Dice Clay-esque. How you say it's what you say, not how you say it. But I understand in a political climate, yes, they're both very important.
Right. How you say it and what you say are so fucking intertwined, unfortunately. Like, it's not like me at work. Like, I can say whatever I want to management. They know I don't give a fuck. They also know they fucking need me real bad. So you can make allowances, but unfortunately in the political world, allowances are
Dangerous.
hard to come by. First of all, they're
They're
dangerous. They're dangerous. And second of all, they're real hard to come by because somebody's going to have a fucking issue with what you said and how you said it. So
Oh, yeah.
unfortunately, Donald is not mindful of situation, and he's not always mindful, or does he care who the group he's speaking to
Yeah, he doesn't know his
is
audience.
when he speaks. He doesn't always read. Donald does not read the room as the best. Like
That's
he'll
a
literally
valid
tell you,
point.
they told me I'm not supposed to say this, but X, Y, and Z. And then everybody loses their shit, and he's like, they said I shouldn't say it, but you know what? Fuck them. And
Here's what I tell you.
then he wonders why he's like, why are they always talking about what I say?
They're so mean.
Dude, did you watch yourself?
Joe
Did you
Rogan
watch
said it the
yourself?
best.
You literally
You
told
say
America-
some wild shit.
You literally told it. Hey, you say some unhinged shit, bro. You literally say, you know what? Everybody told me not to say this. What didn't they tell you to say, Donnie? They told me not to say fuck women. I'm gonna do it anyway.
And
That's
that's what
the
Joe
fucking-
Rogan.
that's the
That was the
problem.
point that Joe Rogan made. And what was the thing that Trump said? Lynch, you listened to the interview just as much as I did.
You are constantly out of fucking pocket.
I don't understand why there's all this hatred about the things that I say. And Joe Rogan came right out and
Bro,
said,
You, say
"You
some
do
wild
say some
shit.
wild shit."
He does.
And Joe Rogan, unlike a lot of people, and Chris, you and I earlier today had fun with that one dude on the public forum who don't back up what they say. And Joe Rogan came right at him. He did not give him softballs. He's like, you say some wild shit. You say stuff that ruffles feathers. And whether or not they have factual impact, think about how you say shit. I mean, Herm and I did this with a kid way back in the day. We would hold them, little baby, like this and say, I'm going to rip off your head and shit down your neck. And that baby was like, yay. Right. And then you yell, I fucking love you. And that baby cries.
Right. You know, it's
what you say, it's how you say it.
3 men and a little baby. And then the champion came in with a right hand, crushing his opponent's jaw, fracturing it in 73 places, requiring 14 hours of surgery, and his face never looked the same again.
Thank you, Tim, for joining the chat. Much appreciated. Share it with your friends, Tim.
It's literally how I talk to the dogs when I'm mad at them. Oh my God, I fucking hate you. I swear to God, I'm going to put the leash around your collar and hang you by the fucking rafters. Oh my God, I hate your fucking ass so bad.
I'm going to rip off your head and shit in your tonsils.
They're all like, yes, yes, he loves me. I'm going to choke you to fucking death. I love you. But that's the shit.
I did that to Emma when she was little. I'm like, you're lucky your mother's in the room, or I go Benoit on your ass.
Or I'd bounce you off the walls.
Nope, but it was I'll go Benoit on your ass.
It's so much about tone sometimes and not what is being said.
And I think a lot of that gets lost.
You say some wild shit. I can hear him saying it.
Especially in today's political climate, tonality definitely has a big impact, because you may, and I know I'm going to say this, I'm painting with a broad brush. I don't think there's a Democrat out there on the, not from the center left, I'm saying from the MSNBC side, that if they actually read
the tricolor hair people.
Yes. If they read the policies and procedures and actually looked up what he said versus what you heard, I'm not saying you'd vote for DJT. I'm saying you'd have a possibly different opinion of the man.
Oh yeah, I've worked very. I would have to agree with that. I've worked very hard to pay attention to more of where they're going and what their ideas are. I don't need it to sound perfect. I don't look, they're all humans and I allow for human mistake. All right. But I've paid a lot of attention more so to where they stand on certain issues that I care about. And then not just the women's health, pro-choice issue, other things. And like I've said, there's a lot of things that I don't that don't really affect me. You know what I mean? Like there are issues that are part of this election that I don't care about.
They don't have a big impact on Michael Herman's life.
Right. Like my life, what's going on at the border isn't going to change my life that much. I agree that, look, I don't think the illegals are the problem. And you're going to just hold on.
No, I'm listening.
The problem isn't the people coming in. Our problem is the system. I think there needs to be if you come in and you've got a plan and a sponsor and you can come in with proving you've got a job lined up and you've got a place to stay, I think there should be a fast track program. And I think if you can't come in when you come in, and I think when you come in and you don't meet all the criteria, well, then you've got to go through the slow Joe. Mm-hmm. And then you've got to wait. Sorry.
They had that. If you claim asylum, you would stay in Mexico until they did your background, and then you were pushed to the top of the list.
Right. But this is more than just asylum. This is requiring mindfulness and forethought.
I
need to get
agree
the
with
fuck
that.
all right, so that's what I don't think the immigrants are the problem. I think the system is the problem. And all I'm hearing is I hear from one side is a lot of anger towards the immigrants themselves, and the only solution is no. But I feel that
That's
and
good.
but as somebody who has blood that came from people that were here when the Europeans came, as somebody who has blood from people that there wasn't a border when we moved back and forth from what is now Mexico to Colorado and New Mexico on the Native American side, I don't think I believe borders should be open, and I think there should be little gateways that they go through to get in.
Agreed.
I don't have, so me personally, I don't have anything against the immigrants. The system's fucked up. It's not really them. You're going to get crime and shit from any system like that. And I carry a gun, so I protect myself.
One of
But
the terms. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm extremely comfortable. My skills are worth pretty good money out here in relation to what they were out there. I'm lucky enough to not be a person, and sound entitled, I don't give a fuck to anybody listening. I know that if bacon goes up $1 a pound, I'm not even gonna fucking notice.
Right.
Right on.
So that economy issue, when I run the numbers and look at the economy 4 years ago versus now, and you actually crunch the numbers, the United States economy is actually doing better than just about it has ever been when you put the numbers together by
Now,
unemployment,
today. Yes.
inflation rate right now today, and it's worked its way back. We had a historical world fucking problem that stopped the system, and anytime you stop a system, it's real easy to stop a system, but getting it back to where it was running, it takes a long. It's a long warm up.
Which is why, and before I throw it to Attorney Culpepper,
I was
when they announce that coming for Joe Biden walked in at the worst fucking time, worldwide pandemic, 40-year highs in inflation that date back to the 1982 Reagan administration, where he was dealt a bad hand by the Carter administration, yada yada yada. The country built itself back up. It didn't take 2 years. It took several years.
You've never seen one. You've never seen a single administration rebound like this. And I'm not saying it was Joe. It's just how America works. Joe was just lucky enough to be the motherfucker in office.
Right. He gets to be the guy
and we get it done.
Yeah,
Right, but it is the largest economic rebound. Remember, they told us we were gonna have another depression, bro. Remember,
we were bracing for it as Americans.
We never actually experienced any of the real symptoms that go with a major recession. All of the issues that they said were going to happen,
depression,
never fucking happened.
Yeah,
right. No, yeah, but all of the things that are supposed to happen with a recession didn't actually happen. All it did was it slowed down. There's a whole bunch of things when you study economics that come with the recovery period, and most of them, if you talk to an economist, didn't even fucking happen. We just didn't give a fuck. We brought the economy back that fast.
Attorney Culpepper, as our underrepresented member, like AOC, but I like you a whole lot more than I like her.
Yeah, but
me too.
His tits aren't that good.
No, they're not. But her ass is something else.
His tits aren't that good.
But her ass is something else. What is the one policy that you looked at as the biggest picture in this election?
Not so much as far as why I voted the way that I did.
Yes, you don't have to tell. And that's the thing.
Right.
None of us are. I already told you. I wrote my vote in. Nobody on this panel has to tell the world how we voted unless you choose to. It's
Absolutely.
nobody's fucking business who you voted
Absolutely.
for.
Unless somebody wants to divulge it. Absolutely.
Correct.
Total
Right.
respect.
And my criteria, much like my colleague Bonjour Herman, is I'd like to constipate the verbiage, and we're gonna go along, and I would like to prostitute the yeah.
Yana, allow me to
Can-
fumigate my wisdom.
Excuse me. Can I get you
Can I
a
get the
tuna fish
Reverend Pimp
sandwich?
Daddy?
It's atrocious. It's ridiculous.
Your Honor, can I have the Reverend Pimp Daddy as my lawyer?
Like I said,
Matt,
the one
please,
thing
Matt.
the one thing I have in common with Mr. Herman is I too fancy myself as a long game player, and the most important thing to me with these elections, personally, I'm of the belief that the president himself doesn't have a whole lot of power as far as the position itself, with the exception of nominating Supreme Court justices. And Supreme Court justices, that is something that, the impact
That's
of those
the real
votes lasts
power.
decades. That's where the power is. So my voting is typically based on, what I think is going to be important 10 to 15, 20 years down the line.
Yes,
Regarding
he gets it.
Supreme Court justices, and I've always felt that way. It's I don't often run into other people who, and granted, I work in a blue collar field. I work with people who all they do is talk about politics. But what's interesting to me about that is they don't seem to understand that particular, the whole long game thing.
Mhm.
And it's
like you
gotten
had said
worse.
earlier,
You
they
work in a
think
very Republican field too. You work in an extremely
Well,
far right.
that's the interesting
industry.
thing about it. I work in a nuclear shipyard, and it is a union shop. And what's interesting is the unions have typically been endorsed by Democrat candidates and whatnot. And I work with
Yes.
guys who are diehard conservatives and Donald Trump and this, that, and the other, because it's a defense contractor industry. Yet they're part of unions who tell them who to vote for, and it ain't conservatives.
Exactly.
But
And the one guy
it's
in
quite the
our
paradox.
state, and the one guy in our state, I'm glad you brought that up, is because, like you said, the unions are super Democrat. The Teamsters, all these for years have endorsed the Democratic candidate.
I'm
I
in the
didn't see that
Teamsters,
the
yeah.
unions endorsed anybody this year, but one of our state representatives is a Democrat and is very much in favor of the blue collar worker, and that's Joe Courtney.
Mm-hmm. I like Joe
Yes,
Courtney.
he is, and I don't have a problem with Joe Courtney. I think the only problem that I have is, like, even watching his commercials, they credit him with
There you
basically
go.
the whole submarine.
That's John
move.
Heyman.
I was home. Daddy's home.
But whether
I'm
it's
stealing
Joe
a joke.
Courtney
I'm-
or
I
Rob
don't have-
Simmons or anybody else, I mean, anybody in these positions, whether they've been Republican or Democrat, they've advocated for EB and the Navy and the subs and all that other stuff because it's the lifeblood of this part of the state.
Yeah.
So I just people tend to give all of Joe Courtney's campaigning stuff is about Joe Courtney, and he did this and he saved this and he brought. I was like, well, that's his fucking job.
Right. So he did,
did nothing but his
to
job.
your point, he did his job, and yes, you should celebrate that. If I'm going to make a political commercial about myself, and I am, say, a 4th, 5th, 6th term representative of the state, I'm going to tell you all the good shit I did. You know what I'm
Right.
not going to do? Shit on my opponent, because
Right.
that doesn't help anybody.
Yet they think it does. It's kind of mind blowing.
It's been working
Boy.
since about 2012.
It's easy. Everybody makes himself an easy target. What I mean, I said this a couple weeks ago about how when you watch these political ads, it's more mudslinging than it is actual substance of what I stand for.
Right.
Because what's the one common denominator that the four of us have grown up with that's at everyone's fingertips now? I can look any motherfucker up I want on the internet.
Oh, I was
Not
gonna say
porn.
cocaine.
I was
Well,
going to say
not porn or
masturbation.
cocaine.
All right.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say
I thought-
cocaine.
I thought he was going to say
Do you do
Pornhub.
cocaine? I sold it. Why? What's up?
Don't
And
get
anybody
high
can-
on your own supply.
Own supply. And anybody can look any motherfucker up they want, and they'll find all the deep. They can look and see if they've had any adjudications against them. They can look. Everything's public record, and you can find it on your fingertips. Or for $5.99 for one-time use, you can get anybody's background report.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what they do? And because it's easier to do that than it is to actually stand up in front of people and tell them what you're going to do. Because
Or what you
if
believe
you have,
in, or what your values are, or anything.
if you have low expectations, you're not going to be surprised when you do nothing.
I
And
wish
we live in a society that has low expectations.
I wish
We grew up in
Go
a
ahead, I'm
time
sorry.
where we had high expectations.
Who did?
Whatever job it is that you do, you're going to be the best at what you do. You're going to show up every day, and you're going to work hard.
In that
Now-
aspect, absolutely. But
Well, I
also,
can't
now-
my mother also taught me low expectations means high gratitude.
Correct.
Well, I
Yeah,
think low
there has to be a-
expectations leads to less disappointment.
Exactly.
That's
If
right.
if I set the bar low,
Six dozen, half dozen.
I mean,
If I
I
set
can
the
only
bar
be
really,
pleasantly
really low-
surprised or figure, that's what I expected.
if I set that bar really, really low and I jump really, really high, I look like a fucking hero.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
and usually-
Instant gratification.
Usually for me,
Right.
and for me, that's usually with other people. That's the bar with everybody else. That's
Mhm.
not my bar for myself. It's just
No.
if I set the bar low with everybody else, then I'm not
Yeah.
usually disappointed.
No.
Exactly.
And I think it's
Exactly.
the positive optimists that are the ones that kill themselves eventually because they just can't,
Yeah.
nothing lives up to their expectations.
The one thing to go on Lynch's point that I wish we could get back to is if you watch any of these ads over the last 6 months, if it's a 30-second ad, the first 15 seconds is I'm going to take a shit on my opponent. And if Herm is my opponent, Herm scratches his ass and wipes back to front.
You don't
Herm,
want to do that. That's cross contamination.
I
Herm
don't have a
picks
vagina,
toes,
so fuck it.
right? Herm pick. Well, if your wife goes in that area, it could be a problem.
Ooh, a mangina.
There you go. Herm beats his dogs. Herm cooks bacon.
Hey,
with his
did
shirt
anybody
off.
else want to stick their dick in the mouth of that Trumpy trout?
Which
No.
trout? Oh, the one on the wall?
No.
No.
Yeah, well, he's
I'm just
singing.
saying,
'cause
like,
it'll
did you
move
see
around.
the lips?
Yeah.
Like you
Can I
saw the
finish?
Trumpy trout I posted, right? Did anybody look at that and think, man, that thing kind of looks like a fleshlight when it goes off?
Yeah.
I
Can I
figured
finish?
Lynch has to be close.
2 times to this.
That trout
know,
got a
right?
kind chin.
Twice.
I
for
usually
5
save
minutes, Herm.
I usually save this for the Speedway
I-
review, but
That's
Herm?
it. I got to find the Trumpy trout now. Hold on.
Herm, shut up.
TrumpyTrout.com.
The first 15 seconds of every political ad is here's all the shit that this person has done wrong since kindergarten. He owes back lunch money from 1965. Give me 30 seconds of what you want to do with this country and make me a believer, because we live in a 24-hour news cycle. We live with information at our fingertips. We know all this shit already. Stop. Give me 30 seconds of Matt Marsh wants to come and make sure everybody's lawn is greener. Matt Marsh wants to make sure that beer prices go down. You have my vote. Matt Marsh wants to make sure. Give me 30 seconds of that instead of Chris Lynch has fleas in his beard. Chris Lynch once smacked a prostitute for charging him $10 extra. Stop.
Naps for everybody.
Right, there we go. A sandwich in every plate. There we go.
That's right. A sandwich on
like
every
I-
plate. I will
like I
protect
said
women's
earlier-
rights at the same time.
Like I said earlier, he's
What the
going to
hell?
pull it up.
Why are we
He
looking
pulled
at
the-
Mikhail Gorbachev Jr. right now?
I was
He-
thinking
he's-
that earlier. Oh, you bastard. I was looking at that when he leaned over. I'm like, it looks like Mikhail Gorbachev.
That's what he's looking up. I told you he's bringing up the Trump trout.
The Trumpy trout. Where is it? Where'd it
What
go?
was it? Naked
Bring it
Gun
back
Tick
up.
lips.
Leslie
Tick lips.
Nielsen
There it
wiped the
is.
spot off
There
Gorba's head.
it is. Right there. That is it. The
Look at
Trumpy
that
trout.
beautiful little
Come on.
fucker.
You can't see.
Oh,
See.
oh, oh,
See. See what I mean? Do you see those lips?
Now
bro?
I can't unsee it now.
You see those lips? That's a fucking wall hanging fleshlight. That's what that is. Welcome to Dysfunction Junction. I'm
My
Big
head
Herm.
hurts.
I approve
That's-
this message.
I've
My
said it
function's just
before.
fine.
This one's
And
for
I'll-
Matt.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. You are truly the reason why we cannot have nice things.
I am.
But
The
I
good
anyway.
guys always win, even in the 80s.
But anyway,
Matt,
Go ahead,
you would
Mitch.
be like nice to know that Jen and I use this as a fuck you to. That's
Do you
that's
Oh,
do you wear a
Fuck
powder blue
yourself.
silk bandana when you do it?
no, but the feeling, it's the same feeling. It's just
You've got the right colored shirt for it.
I'm done here.
but anyway, I digest. I did vote for the future.
Treat us well and,
And
let them
again,
lead the way.
yes. The Supreme Court is a pretty important thing to me. And I believe I'm a firm believer of balance. And I think the right thing to do to set us up for success for the next 24 years is have a fair and equal representation on the Supreme Court.
I concur.
And I agree with, I think, Matt, you said it, that the president really doesn't have that much power.
They don't.
any-
no.
anything
That's
that
the one
becomes-
thing he can affect.
But
That
is
last.
And that's
one
the-
thing.
That's the first and last
You-
thing he can affect. He can veto a bill. Okay, he can say nope, not to my liking.
You can do that. You can do executive
But
orders.
that's but he's the last stop
yeah,
in that case. He is the
And-
single sole decision maker. He or she is a single sole decision maker on who gets appointed to the Supreme Court.
you know,
Hey,
and if you're
and
in the
whether
right
you like it or
cycle
not.
on that,
But God bless the checks and balances system.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
All
And
right,
that's
because
why-
if you had, it's God bless the system that is so fucked up that we live in, that still actually works to what they thought it was going to do to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Some
this is
degree.
literally this independent freedom thing is a whole fucking experiment. We were the first country to come up with the concept of it's not a fucking dictator.
We never
We
king.
invented that fucking idea. All right, so
Well, and
this is a
it-
fucking
Well,
experiment.
we kind
every
of
day.
stole it. We kind of stole it from Sweden. Let's be clear.
Yes,
Well,
but we were the first country to come. Right, but we also were the
we
first.
were the first
country-
success.
Right.
Correct.
Right. We were the first capitalism and freedom and free
Free
choice,
market. Yeah.
free market society to actually make it that didn't revert to an old system. And
Yeah,
we're
so
still working hard every fucking day to not do that.
And it just reinforces your point, Herm, is that the short-sightedness of most voters, they're looking for the now. You're not going to get a lot now. You can
That's local and
layers,
state. Local and state. That's
Right.
local and state. Congressional
And-
and presidential are long fucking term.
Right.
correct.
Well,
And if
they
you want
are.
anything to get, if you want something to pass into law, Trump's not going to walk into office and make abortion illegal on day one.
He
That's not going to
can't.
happen. He can't.
No, and
There's checks and
Kamala's not going to
balances.
walk in and make abortion freedom, right of choice for everybody. There's a long
There's a-
fucking process about
there's a
3 fucking
process.
administrations away if it keeps going that way.
And that's what I can't stand about the left right now is that it's going to happen January 22nd or whatever the fucking day they inaugurate them. It's going to happen
Right.
one way or the
So-
other. It's not gonna
The
happen
right
one way
also
or the
thinks
other.
that on day one we are rounding up illegals and starting to ship them home.
It
So
just doesn't
it's
Yeah.
on both sides.
The-
It's
It
both
is.
sides
It-
have delusions of grandeur.
I will
know,
say immigration was in my mind when I was voting, but I'm much to all your points. It doesn't affect me in my day-to-day life. But what bothers me, something that bothers me personally, is the current system that we have. The system we were running is if you as an adult came with 3 children, you had to prove those children belonged to you. They're not doing that now. Yeah, that's my niece. And they're just letting them over the border. You have 350,000 unclaimed children somewhere in America right now because of that process. That's how fucked up. You were right, Herm. The process is fucked up. That day one, you need to start rebuilding that process. What can we
You do.
do to
And
stop the bleeding?
And
What can we do
honestly,
to stop this?
I don't think look, this is going to sound stupid, but it's not when I'm done. Rounding up all the illegals will hurt the economy more than anything anybody could ever do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you
Okay.
know what? Those
Donald
guys are doing jobs that
Donald
nobody
Trump
else wants
has
to do.
promised a better, lower-priced housing market and to round up the illegals. Well, I hate to break this to you, sweetheart, but if you send all the fucking illegals home, there's nobody that's gonna be there to build your house, and your new house isn't gonna cost $250,000. It's gonna cost $700,000 because white guys aren't getting out of bed to hot tar roofs.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. All right. Illegals do all of the jobs that we used to assimilate to slaves and indentures. That's the truth.
It's true.
Yeah.
If we remove,
it is true.
if on top of the $88 billion it's going to cost us just to remove each year 1 million illegals. If you remove the illegals from the market, it will crash. Nobody will be there to build houses. Houses are definitely not going to be built fast. Look,
No.
there's fucking, all right. Everybody wants to know who built the fucking pyramids in goddamn Egypt. Okay. Was it aliens? Was it the gods? Was it everybody? Motherfucker. There's pyramids in Mexico. Nobody questions who built those motherfuckers.
Machu Picchu, motherfucker.
All right. Everybody knows if you want to get something built, call Mexicans. I am the fucking minority here. All right. I have Latino blood, but as far as everybody's concerned here, I'm pretty much white. They understand that I have the lineage. All right. But I'm the minority here, bro. Me fighting immigration here just makes my life difficult. The guy that mows my lawn he's old. He's probably a little younger than my dad, but he's first generation in country.
Jesus.
I'm only second. You know what I mean? Like I'm only second generation American. You know what I mean? Like that's how close we are to being immigrants. That's how close I am. I am 2 generations away from nobody who lived here or was born here.
Right.
I don't. None of the illegals here in town bother me. My issue. What bothers me is the homeless.
Well, I'm with you on that. Whether they're homeless by circumstance, or if you're a homeless veteran, or you're, if you're drug addled, there's so many things we could do to help our own American citizens. And
I like
no
to say
offense
but I like to say that it's all of it, regardless. It all comes down to repeated poor life choices, regardless of what they are, for 95 to 98% of what's on the street.
To extrapolate on that just a tad, we send way too much money overseas where we could help our homeless population. We could help our veterans that are in need. We could help. Look, going back to your immigration point, I'm not saying send every undocumented person home. Take the criminal aspect that is there, which is probably runs to be anywhere between, based on the last WAPO poll, 5 to 8% of your illegals are criminals. Send them away. For the guys that come and do the jobs that nobody else wants to do, keep them here. They're fighting to make a better life. Everybody who walked onto these shores did that same thing.
I mean, like,
my thing is, Chris,
illegals don't commit crime. They don't want to commit crime because that brings attention. They want to fly. They want to fly under the. They don't even want to fucking get fucking pulled over in a car.
And they will
walk in bike places because I can't get pulled over on a bike.
Not that I trust a lot of mainstream media, but the last poll showed that only anywhere between 5 to 8%. Think about that. 5 to 8%. That's a very low number. Send those motherfuckers back and keep all the good, honest, hardworking people that came here for a better life. Keep them here. It's not fucking hard.
It's a
Go ahead,
very,
Rich.
very, very small percentage of the illegal immigrants here that are committing
and
the
most
crime.
of the drugs
And
that move
this-
across the border
Yes.
at border checkpoints, it's done by white people because
Yep.
white people that look like they're middle class in a camper zip
don't get
right
fucked
through
with.
much easier than a carload full of Mexicans just trying to fucking start a new life.
And they're carrying 300 pounds of yayo.
Right. The meth that comes through the border is done. They've done numbers, and I've said this on the show before. Texas is the only state in the entire union that documents whether somebody has legal or illegal status when they are arrested. All right, and their numbers are so low. Even Texas, when for the show I was watching, when questioned, the numbers were so low. That they couldn't even give a real number. It was disgusting. And every other state, when you clicked on the illegal status counting, all they did was talk about meth being brought along, and they're trying to stop meth. But those drugs don't come across with illegals. Illegals bring like a kilo of cocaine if they're lucky to trying to get it across. They got a little stash. It's white people that look like they don't pose a threat that are most of the mules that work the border.
Mhm.
Ask any
And
border agent how many illegals they stop with moving shitloads of drugs and how many white people, Americans, they stop moving shitloads of drugs. And he'll tell you it's the white people, bro.
It's
And
whitey.
those guys, and those guys who are taking control of like apartment buildings.
What were you
and
saying, Lynch?
hotels.
Did he freeze?
No, I
he's
got him.
moving.
Am I here? Hello?
Yeah. You're here.
In a very small,
You're here.
very small percent,
Yes.
that very small
Yes.
percentage that are criminals, they're the guys who are running the drug empire here in the States. They take over those hotels to put their criminal friends in and to have the white mules hump the drugs. But it's a very, very small percentage. If you come here legally, I got no problem with you. Don't jump the system, because there's people who have been waiting in other countries who have been doing it the right way. They've been waiting for a couple of years to get over here, and cutting the line is kind of rude. And just go through the process, but we have to fix the process first. The process is the problem. If it wasn't the problem,
Yeah,
there
it's
wouldn't
not the
be a
people
there
wanting
wouldn't
to
be a
come in,
flood of
'cause most of
undocumented
them-
people.
Most of them are good, hardworking people that literally look, the American dream is still a fucking thing. It might not be to everybody who thinks that America sucks. And to be honest, the left has to start looking around and realizing that, you know what? It's not that fucking bad here. Okay. But they let the illegals in. All they want to do is work. All right. Let them go through the process, revamp the process. All they want to do is get a shot at an American dream. All right. We're the only country that still offers hope. And the
Exactly,
fact
and I'm
that
not-
you can come here with nothing and get a job doing some menial bullshit and work real fucking hard and maybe get a little something and have some peace, a little tiny postage stamp of peace. We're the only fucking country that offers that. Whether you're red or blue or purple or green, we're the only country that offers that bullshit. Okay,
and
you
I'm
can't
all
go to
and I'm all
anywhere
for that.
else with hope. You know, so that I think we need to embrace that, but make the system work to a degree that filters much better. And I'm not against and I'll say it again. Basically, as I'm not against the immigrants. I'm against the system.
There you go.
Right, and maybe slow the flow for a little bit until let's get our shit together and get our system rebuilt.
But
Like you're not going to keep.
Yeah,
You're not going.
all
You're not
right,
going to keep.
all right.
Herm, you got a $10,000 stereo system, and it's not working right. You're not just going to keep throwing money at it to see why it's not working right. You're going to step back.
Oh, yes, I am for quite a while, and then I'm going to break down and
Then
actually
you're going to analyze. You're going to analyze. You're going to analyze and determine what's the problem. Take a step back, people, both sides of the aisle. Analyze the problem. What do we need to do to fix the problem? Not just saying, I'm going to deport all the fucking immigrants, or I'm going to let everybody in. You can't let everybody in because we're running out of room.
Yes.
Quite honestly, we're running out of room. And San Francisco is a fucking sewer.
That
not
whole
the same San
fucking
Francisco.
thing just needs to be turned into an island.
I loved San Francisco when I was out there in 2002. It was beautiful.
That was a
It was
different
still
San
beautiful.
Francisco.
I just spoke to a gentleman who was there 6 months ago, and he was at Fisherman's Wharf, and he said it was asshole to elbow bums shitting in the street, doing drugs in the street, and it's just chaos because Gavin Newsom is taking all police powers away from their cops. They've defunded departments. It's just chaos. That's the part of the left I don't want to see start creeping this way. Because
Why?
California.
Why?
Would you want to have to step over a bum to go into Walmart at 10, 15, 30, 100 bums to get into where you want to go? That's what it's
I
like in
don't
San
care.
Francisco.
That's all right. I guess my issue with the defunding the police is that's fine. I don't need police. I'm well armed and stocked with ammo.
Until you need them.
Well, and that's
Well, yeah. I mean,
every gun in California, just about everything in California
difference.
is illegal.
Well, I understand. No, I get that. I understand that.
And those fuckers need to move.
I don't call the police. I call the police pretty much to help them, to have them come clean up. And look, I've been a firm believer for a very long time, for decades now. The police don't really stop anything. They do solve crimes. The problem is the police don't really stop anything. They show up afterwards and figure it out.
After the fact.
And,
Right.
And for me, that was never good enough. So the police can do whatever they want, but I'm well armed here. And as soon as I moved here and was able to be, I am well armed and stocked because the police do a great job, but I don't need them to show up afterwards. I need safety when it goes down.
I'm going to ask one question, and I put 2 minutes on the clock, and whoever's not speaking,
there's a clock.
Hot Cheetos.
I'm putting 2 minutes on the clock.
Do it.
Whoever's speaking has that 2 minutes to themselves, and by a flip of a four-sided coin, we're going to start with Marsh. 2 minutes. Make your final plea. What do you want to see going forward starting tomorrow after this election? Your time starts now.
Going forward after the election, well, I would certainly like to see some bipartisanship freaking show back up for the first time in 2 decades. And I would like the stock market to do well. And I definitely would like the women's rights issues to be safeguarded a bit better than they are. Quite a bit better. That's pretty much all I got. Like I said, I want to see the Supreme Court safeguarded from, some kind of catastrophic tilting one way or the other, because it has to be balanced. It doesn't matter if freaking, whichever president, at some point, some president's going to get to stack that deck, catastrophically with 3 or more candidates if, the right people die or /retire. And I don't think it matters if it's Republican or Democrat. You can't have that kind of imbalance. That's all I got.
I will stop the timer and I'll reset. I'll go next. Lynch, then we'll throw to you, and we're going to let Herm be the main event for his 2 minutes, which he's going to herm it and probably take 2 minutes and 18 seconds. My time starts now. The one word I've heard throughout this entire election cycle is the word unity, but I don't think either party knows what the word means. One side says we're moving forward, but at the same time, they said we're not going to go back. I'd like to go back, not too far. I'd like to go back to the fall of 2001, right after the attacks on the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and all of that by Osama bin Laden. This country has never been tighter. This country has never been more unified in its belief that everybody has an equal chance. And somewhere over the last 24 years, we've lost that. I would love to be able to sit in a public place, and if I like candidate number one, wear a shirt that says I'm for candidate number one, and not be harassed, not be bullied, not have actual politicians go on TV and say, if you see somebody wearing this shirt, you give them the business. That's not how America is supposed to be. We all have a say in the matter. We all have an equal right to expect that what we have to say and what we think is just as important as what you think. Full stop. This country has to come together. And if if what has happened in the last 12 years continues to go on, we're not the United States of America. We're going to be the divided states of America. And if you think civil war can't happen, it can. Whether it's the righties having fiery but peaceful protests, or I'm sorry, the lefties having fiery but peaceful protests, or the righties coming out and saying, you'll take my gun over my dead body and we're going to unionize and we're going to come shoot all your asses. Shut up. Bring the country back to a place where we all are just one big melting pot, the United States of America. Chris Burns and I approve this message. Lynch, what do you want to see starting tomorrow? After this election is all over, your time starts now.
A lot of the same things that you guys have both said. Protecting women's reproductive rights is an important issue. I don't think if either party is in office, damage or not, whether you consider either party to be a threat, just make it make sense. You can do whatever you want. Honestly, it's not my decision whether you do something. That's a decision you have to make for yourself. Supreme Court, again, balance. Economy, I'm either mindsets on the economy. We haven't been doing too bad. Some things have gone up, but that was a trickle down from the fucking COVID era. Another big consideration that I didn't say was our foreign policy. Either way kind of scares me. And I'm kind of scared if Kamala Harris gets put in office with what Putin and North Korea in that situation, with them joining forces in Ukraine, what's going to happen from there? And then, of course, Israel and Gaza. Under Biden, they just have zero respect for the guy, and they're going to have even less respect for Kamala Harris because she's a woman. And that's sad to say. I'd love to see a woman for first woman president. I really would. But I just hope and pray she surrounds herself with brilliant people to stop any threat from those guys over there happening to us or getting us into World War III.
And you're right on time. Your timer just ended. Herm is frozen in the Herm face. Kind of curious as to what happened. Has anybody else got Herm frozen?
Yeah, he's frozen.
All right.
He
Frozen
looks
like my
a
soul.
wax figure.
Yeah, he does. Cynthia in the comment section. Spend American money on what U.S. on U.S. and no one else. Protect us only. We mentioned that earlier in the show, Cynthia. Thank you for chiming in with that. We definitely do need to do better here at home versus shoveling money to other countries. Herm, I'm even adding the 18 seconds. So the timer says 2 minutes and 18 seconds. Herm, your time starts now.
Well, first of all, the first thing I hope to see after tomorrow is no fucking political ads.
Thank
That'll
you.
be fabulous.
All right. I would like to thank Channel 5 WKOAA TV here in Pueblo, the local TV news channel. They've been running 15-second political ad break commercials with like fucking golden retriever puppies playing on the lawn,
I've seen him.
Baby, you see him. You're on the VPN, so you watch my news. There's baby chickens running around. It's been the best part of the fucking election. But aside from that, what I hope is after tomorrow, I would like to see the people that I voted for pushing the pro-choice aspect and the women's health issues, whatever you want to call it, name it. It doesn't really matter. I don't care. And like to see them pushing that issue and playing the long game. I again am hoping for. I'm actually not that big on balance on the Supreme Court. To be honest, I really don't give a fuck. Because that's the way the whole game is designed to be played, is so that it is balanced, but you can make it unbalanced. So I'm hoping for enough unbalance and enough of I want them to think it through before a court makes a decision and we do whatever needs to be done nationally or on that level. I don't want it to be a flash in the pan. I don't want it to be the original Roe v. Wade decision, and I don't want them to think they've won a battle and confuse it for winning a war.
Well, that was the issue. That was the issue with abortion in the first place. They did. Oh, yay, we won. And just sat on their ass for 50 years.
Right. They won a battle. They didn't win a war. And
Right.
I'm really hoping that issue gets pushed in the direction it needs to get pushed.
They've had 50 years to figure it the fuck out, and they just sat on their hands and said, "Oh, everything's fine."
Absolutely. And it was a complete
until it's not.
It was a complete mistake. And they left the door wide open. And
yeah, and they had, to your point, they had 50 years to put this to the states and codify it into law. Absolutely, 1,000%.
Right, and everybody just kind of rested on laurels on that decision. And now we need, I feel they need to make the move that the Republicans made to reverse decision. They need to figure out a way to, again, the very long game, probably. Maybe when around the time I'm kicking the bucket, it'll happen.
Yep.
But
They have to figure out a way to start the process.
Right.
Yeah,
start the process and open the conversation with either a right or somewhere that they can base it on, and it needs to not be shaky.
Right.
It needs to be very clear what they're basing it on, and figure it out, not just half-assed enough for right now.
I mean, you guys know my position, and if I were president tomorrow, abortion's not birth control. There are reasons to have an abortion that doesn't involve you going bareback in a Buick. There are legitimate reasons, and I wish, to Herm's point, it shouldn't be outlawed. There should be limits and restrictions to how late it can happen. 2 states in the union have abortion up to the point of birth: California and Minnesota. And then that's their states. They voted on that and it was codified into law. If you want it to be a national thing, come up with a bipartisan plan, put it out there, let the votes come in, much like with gay marriage back in 2009, which I was very in favor of. And
basically do what Colorado's doing.
You
just have to do it on a national level.
Exactly. Let the people have their voice heard. Gentlemen, I love having these conversations with you guys. Thankfully, we won't have to have another one for another 3.5 years until the next election cycle hits.
Oi.
And I'm with all of you. The political ads are a pain in my ass.
They're fucking exhausting.
Isn't it?
Well,
dude, I got to be honest. My favorite thing about the political ads is watching them come out and people say shit in the commercials. Like we've got one here where they were accusing the guy of not letting his employees take sick time or something like that. or time off, and it turns out halfway, like about 2 weeks ago, they changed the ad. It was he didn't allow employees to take paid. Basically, he denied some PTO during a busy time. He
Mm-hmm.
wasn't not letting people take time off of work. He just was denying PTO. If you want to take,
Context.
if you they wanted to take personal days, they could. It was just, we all worked at a casino. 3 of us did. There were blackout periods where they were like, hey, just letting you know,
Shit, all
this
4 of us
year
did.
you can't take off this week during Christmas, this week during Thanksgiving.
And if you call out, it's double
and
point.
Right. If you call out, it's double points
Yep.
against your shit.
Yep.
You can't take Black Friday off.
It's
It's
6 points a
busy.
year.
You know what I mean? You have certain points. Look, it's part of working. And look, we all remember the day that Mohegan Sun came to our house and knocked on the door and said, hey, we really want you to come work for us. We'll do whatever you want. No, that never fucking happened. We went to them and said, please give me a job and pay me.
I'm the outlier. When Caldor was shutting down, Mohegan Sun came to Caldor and had applications and interviews on site. But
you know what I mean,
to
though.
your
But
point,
you're right. They came fishing. They knew a business. Right. You got a little.
I'm the
you got a
outlier.
little slice.
yes,
You get a very small. Like your pinky toe was an outlier. Yes,
right, I'm the
absolutely.
outlier.
But you still had to go through the process, and they totally could have been like, yeah, no, we're not hiring. You know what I mean?
Right.
You still said, please hire me and review my shit.
Right.
That's where we all are. Nobody came to us and begged us to come work for us. They said, look, put an application in. We'll try. All of us.
Yep.
So
I'm going to go to the map before we go. Many other states are reporting right now. We're looking at Indiana and Kentucky. Looks like they've closed their polls. They are showing red. Florida, Georgia, South Carolina are not bright red. They're more purplish right now. And I'm looking at Virginia, which is blue, and Vermont, which is blue. As of right now, the race runs amongst the 2 top candidates, Trump 54%, Harris 44%, and they're only separated by about 800,000 votes. Herm's going to bring this up.
Margin.
Yep. So again, yeah, 49.6 to 49. I'm looking at 54 to 44. So I guess it looks at, I lived in Lafayette. Look at that. Go to La Bamba Burritos. Burritos as big as your head. Before we close, if you're not doing shit later, that's their slogan. If you're not doing shit in a half hour, come check out the Speedway review. We're going to be talking about Martinsville and the Championship 4 race coming up this week. I'd be remiss if I didn't read Cynthia's comment. People don't read the true amendment that the media says to vote on. The abortion law I don't agree with. It's all lying. The original amendment, it wasn't an amendment. I'm going to stop you there, but I'll read the rest. The original amendment says everything they say on media that isn't, people don't want to take accountability for their actions. Okay, I see where she's going.
I don't. I'm having a
take accountability for your actions. It's not birth control.
But okay, all right. That's kind of.
But at the same time, I have to throw this in here because Herm will agree. Herm's going to agree with me. How are you going to prove when that girl walks into Planned Parenthood or to her local clinic that she's not going in there with that intention? You just can't. And that's why it's very important that the states need to put it to a vote. And if 33 states say yes, it's a law, deal with it. We don't have to like it. I don't like certain laws. I hate wearing a seatbelt, but guess what? I got to do it every fucking day.
Well, the benefit of being a U.S. citizen is if you don't like what your state's doing, you can move to another state that's doing it different.
There you go. You want abortion ban?
Hey, I kind of was forced to, and I got to be honest. It
was the best thing that ever happened to you.
You're happy as fuck.
I'm really fucking happy with what the fuck's going on here.
Hey, Cynthia, no need to be sorry, Cynthia.
Dude,
it's okay. We're all good, Cynthia. Thank you.
I feel completely. I'm completely sad for you bastards back in Connecticut.
No, I'm not. I came back by choice.
There you go.
Yeah, I know, but you don't think shit through, and
I thought this through.
Lynch, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye, people.
Oh my!
We'll see you next week, where we won't be wearing shirts and ties, and we'll be having fun. I'm leaving it to Lynch to come up with next week's topic.
Oh,
Hasta linguini.
Yeah, from the cum encrusted carpets of the Oval Office, we say good night.
good
From
night.
WANL News.
Jesus
Where we
Christ.
Reshove one story at a time up your ass.
Yeah, that's not
Don't worry. We're all going to wake up tomorrow and everything's going to be fucking fine.
I want fire and brimstone.
What'd you say?
I want fire and brimstone, goddammit.
No, we don't need any of that. No. The only thing I care about tomorrow morning is if I'm changing my stocks to defense fucking contract shit or if I'm leaving it in the green energy where it is. That's all I care about. Where the fuck am I moving my money? That's all.
And the first motherfucker to say, not my president, no matter who wins, I'm burning your house down.
I'm going to say it just so you can come out and visit.
Oh,